It hit South Texas in the United States last night, leaving millions stranded. Now, several people have reportedly been taken for assessment and treatment. It was the first Category 4 hurricane to make a landfall in the United States since Hurricane Charley back in 2004. With us in studio is SABC Meteorologist Mr. Philip Hawkins to shed more light about this Category 4 hurricane. Phil, a very good morning to you.
Yeah, very good morning.
What is a Category 4 hurricane, Phil?
So a Category 4 hurricane, there are basically only 5 categories that a hurricane can fall into once it's produced enough of a wind speed. And of course, a Category 1 is where the lowest starts and a Category 5 is the highest. So this is just one step off the highest possible wind speeds that you can get. Right now, they're actually sitting at about 130 miles an hour, which is about 210 kilometers per hour.
But
steady winds.
I mean, it says here that several people have been taken for assessment and treatment. What could have happened to those people, Phil? Could they have been swept away? Could they have inhaled something?
So there could have been a lot of different things that happened to them. Obviously, in a 210 kilometer per hour steady wind, it'll flip cars. It'll knock down houses that are not built properly. And a lot of houses in America are made out of wood and drywall. So those are definitely at risk there. There's drowning. There's storm surge, which was about 13 to 14 feet, which is, that's almost 4 meters, around 4 meters storm surge, which means the sea rises by 4 meters. Lots of people could have drowned, could have almost drowned, been damaged by debris in the winds as well. So there's a lot of things that can happen.
Now, Phil, we're just saying that it's probably nighttime for them in the United States there, and it's probably very hard to account for who's still alive and who's been injured in the hurricane. But I mean, let's talk about, some of the things that happen during such things. What are some of the recourses that people can do to try and be safe, should it happen?
Yeah, so the problem is this, that there was a mandatory evacuation which was issued to many, many places. But a lot of people didn't adhere to that.
Yeah.
And I saw an interview with one gentleman who decided to stay. And his reason for that was because they'd been issued with a lot of warnings, and it had always missed them.
They were filling their sandbags yesterday.
Yeah, so it had always missed them. And this is their intention, was to stay where they were. This one, unfortunately, has a very different path to the usual path of a hurricane. And you can see there on your screen now, it's really headed a lot further south than the usual hurricanes.
Philip, let's talk about, the waves. They were saying that they could rise up to about 3.5 meters. That is quite hectic.
Yeah. In addition to a 4-meter storm surge, plus the waves that high. And when you get a set of waves with the biggest one being the last one, then it just progressively gets higher and higher. That's going to wash beaches away. It's going to undermine foundations. It's going to cause flooding.
Philip, why is this hurricane such a serious one for the people of Texas? It says that the last hectic one was Hurricane Charley back in 2004.
Yeah, that's the last Category 4 to make landfall in the USA, was 2004. So this is, of course, with all of these factors, the 210 kilometer per hour winds, the rainfall that it's bringing is also a massive factor, because there's a high pressure system in the inland areas around Texas, which is actually going to stop that hurricane. But it's not going to dissipate it immediately. So that hurricane's actually going to pause inland and just cause a lot of rainfall. And that rainfall, they really can't deal with in Texas. They're not used to that kind of rainfall. And this is one of the problems, is Texas is not used to weather events like this.
Yeah.
Especially some of the parts inland where they almost never get reached by hurricanes, and now they have to deal with this kind of an emergency.
We're just talking that, we're lucky that we don't have such extreme weather in South Africa. But would we ever get to experience anything like this, Phil?
Well, the last thing that we saw was the tropical cyclone Dineo, and that did cause havoc in a lot of places. And if you look at the way that it kind of hit the Mozambican coastline, and you look at the pictures that we're seeing now of this Hurricane Harvey, they're very similar, but what you must remember was that Cyclone Dineo was never as powerful as Hurricane Harvey. Hurricanes and cyclones, by the way, are exactly the same thing, just different names for them. But yeah, so in terms of what we would feel here in South Africa, we're very lucky in that we have Madagascar in the way.
You were just saying,
Yeah, so Madagascar really diminishes the power of a lot of hurricanes, a lot of tropical cyclones that head our way, because they have to pass over Madagascar in order to get to us. So.
Okay, I was about to ask if it had any relation to the current cold front that we're experiencing, Phil.
Not at all, no. None.
Thank you so much for that clarification. That is Philip Hawkins, SABC meteorologist, talking to us about, of course, Hurricane Harvey that hit South Texas late last night in the United States.